Hello my dear viewers, you are welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to discuss how to write a synthesis essay. So writing a synthesis essay is the focus of this video. Now let's get started. What is a synthesis essay? A synthesis essay is an essay that is composed by incorporating information from multiple sources. And when we talk about from multiple sources, what it means is that in writing a synthesis essay, it requires that you examine a variety of information on a particular topic. So, a variety of information from series of sources on that topic. And in writing a synthesis essay, you need to incorporate information from all these sources. Now, how do you write a synthesis essay? Since a synthesis essay is written by incorporating information from various sources, first it is advisable that you need to read these sources and be familiar with them. Then after you have read through the various sources that you are going to use on that particular topic that you're going to write about, you now have to make notes from these sources. And it is very important to take a stance on the topic that you're going to write about. That is to adopt a viewpoint, what is usually referred to as your thesis. So your viewpoint on the issue is simply what we refer to as the thesis of your essay. And the thesis of your essay is what gives your essay a focus. Now, how do you start a synthesis essay? We have said that a synthesis essay is written by incorporating information from various sources. And that, on the topic that you're going to write about, there is the need for you to take a stance. Because of that, the first paragraph or the opening paragraph of a synthesis essay is a very important paragraph. Let's look at what is required of you in this first paragraph. The first paragraph of your synthesis essay, that is the introductory paragraph, spells out your thesis, the thesis of your essay. So, a good introductory paragraph, 1, introduces the topic. Then 2, it states the thesis, which is what you are going to say about the topic. And then 3, it provides an outline of the main points that you're going to discuss in the body of the essay. Now, let's look at an example of a synthesis essay. Let's take an example in, let's say, examination condition where you are going to write on a particular topic. So, you are going to be given limited sources that you are going to consult and incorporate information from these sources into your essay. So, let's take this as a question. The following extracts contain information on how to confront corruption. Use the information provided in the extracts to write a synthesis essay. Your essay should be between 600 and 800 words. Your essay should demonstrate your understanding of citation practices. Your argument should incorporate ideas from the extracts using summarizing, paraphrasing, and sometimes direct quotations. And in representing and synthesizing views from these, demonstrate your understanding of the use of reporting verbs. Now, let's look at the extracts that we have. So we have here 1, extract 1. So this is an extract from somebody's piece of writing on corruption. Then we have extract 2, also based on corruption. Extract 3, extract 4, then we have extract 5. So in all, we have 5 extracts provided from which you are going to incorporate information or cite information from in the process of writing your essay on corruption. Great. Now, let us look at how to approach answering this question. Now, how to start your synthesis essay? So, ideally, you should have a title. So, for example, I have a title here, How to Fight Corruption in Ghana and Africa. So, how should the introductory paragraph be written? Let's look at this example I have here. This is how this introductory paragraph begins. Corruption is a widespread phenomenon in Africa. Ghana is one of the countries in Africa where corruption perception is high. Several audit reports have revealed corrupt practices in the public sector of Ghana. Then there is a source there, Asiedu and therefore 2017. Corruption is indeed very common in Ghana. This essay argues that corruption in Ghana, and for that matter, corruption in African countries, can be controlled in a number of ways. Some of the ways by which corruption can be controlled are appointment of women to public offices, investigative journalism, and effective internal audit in the public sector. Now, I would like you to look at something carefully here. You see, the first 3 sentences introduce the topic. Then, the writer comes to the point to state his thesis. That is in red. Corruption in Ghana, and for that matter, corruption in African countries can be controlled in a number of ways. So we know that the writer is going to write about the ways to control corruption in Ghana and Africa. And this, the writer immediately gives us the breakdown of some of the points he's going to discuss. So he comes to the last sentence. Some of the ways by which corruption can be controlled are, then he provided 3. Appointment of women to public office, 1. Investigative journalism, 2. And effective internal audit in the public sector, 3. So this is the ideal way to write your synthesis essay, so that we know exactly what the body of the essay is going to contain. So the next paragraph, which is the first body paragraph, will focus on the discussion of one of the main points listed here. That is appointment of women to public offices. Great. So now let's look at the first body paragraph. So this is how the first body paragraph looks. The appointment of women to public offices is one of the ways to control corruption in Ghana and Africa. Some studies have revealed that women by nature are less corrupt as compared to men. It is therefore suggested that when more women are appointed as heads of public institutions and to leadership positions, corruption is likely to reduce. Kesati 2020, so that is a source, indicates clearly that giving women the opportunity to head leadership position is a good anti-corruption strategy that can lead to a reduction in corruption of all forms. Women are seen as agents of change in the implementation and enforcement of measures that can result in a fight against corruption. Not only are women agents of change in terms of controlling corruption, they are highly competent to bring about change in terms of economic growth and development. So this is the first body paragraph, and it has one main idea: appointment of women to public offices and how it can help control corruption. So once this is done, you move on to the next point you're going to discuss. So the next body paragraph, your second body paragraph. Another way it is important to achieve coherence in your writing. So the writer begins this paragraph by indicating another way that corruption can be controlled in Ghana and other African countries is through the activities of the media with emphasis on investigative journalism. Asamoah 2022 states that the media play a very important watchdog role and called for the media in Ghana to be empowered to carry out investigation into corrupt activities of politicians in order to contribute to the fight against corruption in Ghana. So here, Asamoah 2022 is a source that you have incorporated into your essay. That is a synthesis essay by incorporating information from sources, right? Great. So it continues. This is highly needed as a means of fighting corruption because African politicians are not sincere in fighting corruption. Abdullahi 2009 argues that top politicians, so this is another source, top politicians are not committed to the fight against corruption. They talk about the fight against corruption but do little or nothing to control corruption. They come up with all kinds of empty slogans such as zero tolerance for corruption, I will protect the public purse, I will fight corruption with all my heart, but they do the opposite of what they say. They rather engage in corrupt activities that need to be investigated and exposed. Great. Now let's look at the third body paragraph of the essay. So the third body paragraph begins this way. In addition, corruption can be controlled through effective internal audit measures in the public sector. A study by Asiedu and therefore 2017 reported a strong correlation between internal audit practices and a decrease in corruption. So a source here is cited in the essay. Now, it continues. Internal audit practices are capable of exposing hidden corrupt practices. When internal audit practices are made to be more effective, it leads to the situation where more corrupt practices are uncovered. The more corrupt practices are discovered through auditing, the more it leads to a reduction in corruption. Unfortunately, corrupt politicians in Ghana and other African countries sometimes victimize auditor generals who are effective and committed to fighting corruption and forcefully remove them from office and replace them with their equally corrupt relatives or friends. This practice must be discouraged in Ghana. Auditor generals should be allowed to do their work without fear or favor in the fight against corruption. This is likely to enable African countries tackle corruption. Great. So this is the third body paragraph. And after the third body paragraph, you can have your concluding paragraph. So this is the concluding paragraph. The means by which corruption can be tackled in Ghana and other African countries have been highlighted in this essay. Cynicism around corruption among public office holders leads to activists calling for a change. Into bracket, a source there. That's Warning 2020. This change in corruption perception could be achieved through the appointment of women to public offices, investigative journalism, and effective internal audit mechanisms in the public sector. Note that this is what a concluding paragraph does. What does it do? It restates the thesis of the essay and then summarizes the main points discussed. If any other thing, it will offer a suggestion or a recommendation. So this brings to the end your essay. But a synthesis essay, or for every academic essay or essay that is written by consulting multiple sources, the sources that you've consulted and cited in your essay, you now have to provide a list of them, which we call the references. So without the references, your essay is not complete. So here we come to the references. So the references. Now, under the references, you have to list all the sources that you consulted. And you have to list the sources and even cite them in your essay using a particular referencing style. In this case, I have used the APA 7th edition of referencing style. So here, in the APA style, the reference list is provided in alphabetical order. So you see here, I have Abdullah A as the first source listed, followed by Asiedu, then Asamoah Daswani, and then Kaseti. So it is in alphabetical order. Then it is also important to note that there are no numberings for the APA style, and every subsequent line is indented 5 spaces away from the margin. So this is how the APA style reference list is presented. Thank you so much for listening and for watching this video.